Everything is. That's it. Everything essentially is. And how wonderful that is. Seems so simple. Yes, it does. Because really, it is. It's all there is. It just is. Why is this such a profound and delicious truth? Why would I feel the need to repeat and express such a straightforward statement? Well, first of all, because it feels good. Primarily because it feels good. And it feels good because it's true. Because the feeling of this statement, everything is, allows me to feel into the isness of everything. And that's where all the good feeling exists. That is the good feeling. Everything is. To feel into that place of pure being, to marvel at the witness of being, that's all I want. That is all consciousness wants. That is it. To be aware of itself. To be fully conscious with and of itself. Present with self. And so this is the only truth that ever has been or ever could be expressed. So why do we keep finding more words to try to say it in? If it's this one truth, if it can be really summed up with just everything is, why add anything more? Why say anything else ever? Well, for the satisfaction of it, number one. But number two, because the mind. Because the mind is. And because the mind is very quick to take something that is a statement pointing to a profound truth that when you feel the depth of what that statement is pointing to, because ultimately it is just words. The words are not the subject. But when you feel what it is pointing to, you become aware of this profound truth, and there is no end to the knowing of it. It's unending. You can't actually get it. You can't actually comprehend it. You can only feel it and just know it and keep knowing it, and there's no end to the knowing, and that's why it's so delicious. But the mind loves to take a phrase and flatten it into a concept, into an idea. Okay, everything is. Yeah, I get it. So what? So what everything is? What do you mean, so what? What do you mean you get it? You don't get it. Brain. If you got it, you wouldn't be saying so what. And you can't possibly, you don't get it. There's no way to get this. That's the point. The brain will flatten something eternal into something finite and limited so that it can understand it and therefore get it. I get it. I see the whole picture. What's next? No, you see the part of the picture that you took a snapshot of and compressed. And because you did those things, now you can see that whole thing. But that whole thing is just a snapshot. That is not the whole picture. The whole picture is unlimited. The whole picture is infinite. When you are feeling that everything is, and you leave the mind behind and you just feel it, you feel the inexpressible, ineffable depth of being. You feel the connection of all. You feel the vastness, the literally infinite space, infinite abundance of self, of is, of presence. You get by the feeling of it, this is right, this is good, this is true, This is all that is. This is my essential nature. This is the essential nature of all. All is essentially one. You feel these things. They're not thoughts so much as directly transmitted comprehension. It's no. It's no. You don't get it, but you get it. And there is no way to accurately express it. You can't capture the experience because it is eternal. It's unlimited. It's too big. Words simply cannot do it justice. They are unable to. They are forms. They are three-dimensional constructs. This is a higher dimensional experience. And so when the mind tries to take something like eternity, like the isness of all, like eternal presence and life, and the now stretching on forever, it fails. It utterly fails. And it only serves to confuse and distract, because it'll say, no, I got it. I get it. It has an idea. It has an idea, and it gets the idea. It doesn't get the reality. It can't. It's not capable of it. But what is capable of getting it by way of direct, intimate, intuitive understanding is consciousness. And that's what you are. Consciousness. So when you bring your conscious awareness to a true statement like everything essentially is, and you don't contemplate it with the brain, you contemplate it with the body. You feel into it. Listen to those words with your whole being. Feel your isness. Everything essentially is. Can you feel that you are? Feel. Fucking feel your are-ness. Your amness, your isness. Feel that you be. And then don't add anything to it. That's another thing the mind likes to do. But as soon as it adds a definition to something, it starts to limit it. It starts to flatten it. It squishes it back down into that box, into that form that it can understand. Just keep telling the mind, you're not going to get this. You're not going to understand it. I see that you want to try. It doesn't work. So stay instead in the place of being. And notice that you can feel your being while watching the mind work, while watching the mind try to turn this over and add things to it. And eventually you get to the point where the mind can add labels, but the labels don't matter because your perspective is already above the label. You're not contained by the label. You see that the mind needs labels to make sense of things. You don't need labels. You don't need to comprehend with the mind to understand, to know. It makes sense in a way that is beyond words, that is beyond description. Everything essentially is. That's all we need to know. That is all we need. Everything is. Hallelujah. That could have been the whole Bible. Would have been a lot less interesting, I suppose. And the reason there's more is because people wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it. Well, that's the whole book. It's 2 words. Everything is. Period. Yeah. That's the summary. That's the summary of every spiritual and religious doctrine ever. Everything is. Have a good time with it. Hallelujah. That's fucking it, man. The mind, the ego loves to overcomplicate things because it's really good at complex. It's really good at problems. And so it makes problems in order for it to be able to solve them. But really, all it ever does is create more. There's no solution found in the mind. There's just more problem. So it's time to let it go. It's time to let the mind just go. To let it be. Because it is. That's it. And so we can marvel too at the mind, at its simple presence, at its essence. The core of mind is being. We can focus on that consciousness. We can see that, we can perceive that. And by the power of holding that perspective, that everything is, that mind is, that ego is, that pain body or shadow is, we return it. We transmute it back to the pure essence. We distill it to the essence of itself and return it to that pure, rapturous form of being. Everything essentially is. It's never not. That is all any of us ever need to know.